Welcome to the 10 Boom Institute's Q&A Tuesday. Today I'm going to talk about a question that I get asked a lot, and that is, how can I read faster? A lot of people, when they get on fire about education, whether they're younger or in their adult years, they begin to compile a list. Like, I don't know if this has happened to you, but it certainly happened to me. And frankly, all my life the list gets longer, and I've just accepted the fact that I'm never going to get through the list, and you're probably not ever going to get through your list either. You can learn to prioritize and pick the very best ones. But anyway, so you compile this list of all these books that you want to read, and you start feeling really overwhelmed really quickly because you're on fire again about learning, and you really want to spend some time in these great books, but you have, just this little tiny bit of time every day or every week when you really can sit down and read and enjoy a good book. And so you struggle to prioritize. That's one of the reasons that we do the blog. We recommend those things that we think you ought to read no matter what. And you can check over our top 100 list for other suggestions about books that you ought to read for sure. But anyway, as you decide on a book to read, you want to read it faster, right? So you can get through more books. And then this is where the speed reading question comes up. How can I read faster? And what's a good speed reading book that you know of? And I used to own a few. I went through that myself, and I read several speed reading books. And there's one of the main concepts in every speed reading book. One of the suggestions that they always give, the main things that they talk about, is getting to the the subvocal level. So when we learn to read phonetically, we sound out each of the sounds. And then we get to the point where we have the words memorized, but usually we hear all those words in our head when we read anything. And so what they want you to do is get to the point where you can read things where you don't hear any of the words. And they'll talk about all kinds of tactics like looking for keywords and using your hands, etc., etc. But this is what I want to say about speed reading. For most of us, most of the time, I would not worry about it at all. Just don't even worry about it. Don't buy speed reading books, and don't try to learn to speed read. What's going to happen when you read better books is that just by the nature of the thing, just the very fact that you're reading things that are a little bit above your level is going to increase your speed and your vocabulary because you're seeing the words more often. Just the fact that you're reading more means you're going to speed up. And if you take the time to look up words and increase your vocabulary as you go and use some of those, especially increase your improve your reading skills, and that's why we have the How to Read video training, so that you can increase your capacity to read well. But you're going to learn to read faster just by the nature of the thing. And you might want to read something harder, then read something easier, then read something harder, then read something easier, like building a muscle like you do when you're exercising physically or doing anything else. You're increasing your capacity. You're increasing your attention span, your ability to sit at a harder reading for longer periods of time. And so over the next few years, you're going to increase that capacity as you improve your reading skills, and you will become a faster, better, more efficient reader. But ultimately, the concept of reading faster comes down to something. I thought of my new How to Read a Book, not the old one. And I think I blogged on the old one, and I might have even said that it's better than the new one, but it's not. I can't remember what I said in that blog post. The new one is good too. The new one's different. Anyway, this is the one with Van Doren. But this little segment he has on speed reading, of all the speed reading books I've read and everything that I've looked at, it's one of my very favorites because I think that Adler and Van Doren are right on it when they talk about the concept of speed reading. He says, let it be understood at once that we are wholly in favor of the proposition that most people ought to be able to read faster than they do. And this goes back to when he talks about how the education on how to read ends at 9th grade, and that's one of the reasons that he's written this book, is because he wants people to understand higher levels of reading and how to read better. Too often there are things that we have to read that are not really worth spending a lot of time reading If we cannot read them quickly, it will be a terrible waste of time. It is true enough that many people read some things too slowly and that they ought to read them faster, but many people also read some things too fast and they ought to read those things more slowly. Now, this is so true. What we want to do in learning to read faster is learning what we should read faster. My experience has been that I can read novels pretty quickly. When I get into some harder, great books, nonfiction stuff, I read more slowly, and actually it's poetry that I read the slowest, and I read multiple times. So you're going to vary your speed, but also like newspapers or things you might need to read for work, textbooks you may need to skim, or instructions or any of that kind of thing. What you really want is not to read faster. You want the skill of knowing when to read faster and when to read slower. And so you need to know what you should read quickly. If you're reading more difficult stuff and you're increasing your vocabulary, you're going to read the other stuff faster just because you're a better, faster reader. Okay, so there's 2 tips I want to give you that will help you if you need to read something quickly or you're researching it and you need to know if it's something that you should read. First, go to the front of the book and look through the table of contents and make sure you know what in that book you need to read at all, or manual, or whatever it is that you're reading it for. And read the first sentence of each paragraph. And then you'll know if you need to read that paragraph. That's a way to cut your reading by, down to 10% of the time. Every paragraph that looks like it's really, really important and you need it, read through it, and the rest of them just go, 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 go. You'll go really fast in stuff that you don't know if you need to read or not, or that you need to read quickly. Another tip I have for reading is to use your hand. If you'll simply, and lots of books talk about all the different hand waves that you can do and the way that you can, what it does when you use your hand, and there are a million ways that you can do it. Usually I'm just kind of like this. I've just got my fingers. It forces your eye. It just forces your eye to go faster down the page, and that forces you to push yourself just the tiny bit faster. One of the things that all the speed reading books have in common is that they'll tell you we vocalize all the little words that we already know. We don't need to read all the ands and thes and a's and those little words that are just connecting words. Don't worry about reading those and try to get yourself to the point where you read just kind of the bigger words. Use your hand to push your eyes down the page so you can become faster. But by and large, I would not get speed reading books. I probably would not take speed reading courses unless you understand the principle here, and that is read stuff really slowly that should be read slowly, and use the speed reading skills when it's very important to get through it quickly. But you're having a conversation when you read correctly, and you're thinking, and you're talking to yourself, and you're talking to the author, and then you go have a discussion and you're talking to other people, and you cannot do that quickly, nor should you do it quickly, because remember, you will have, when it's all said and done, a better education having read 10 or 20 or 50 books well than if you read 1,000 books poorly. And what happens most of the time when you get really into speed reading is that you read a lot of books poorly. You can't really find anything in them. You don't really remember what it was of essence. You can get a central message, and that's about all you can get when you speed read. And so my recommendation is don't worry about speed reading. Use your hand, skim when you need to, but overall just read stuff that's a little bit difficult for you. Then read something easy, then something that's a little bit difficult to you to increase your capacity, improve your vocabulary, and make you a better, faster reader overall. And I hope that helps all of you out there who are excited about learning and wondering how and why you should read books faster. If this was helpful, please pass it on to a friend and join our email list to get the free article From Opinions to Principles. And please comment. Tell us your experience with speed reading. I have a really fun video that I'll link for you from Mortimer Adler when he was talking about speed reading the great books. It's really entertaining, and I hope that you'll let us know what your experiences with speed reading have been, and share it with others down here on the comments below. And also send us your questions to Q&A Tuesday at the 10boominstitute.com. We'll see you next time.